Well, Rongers, I just want to ask you, mate, because you touched on it before. You've had a pretty horrible run with injuries the last couple of years, and it has really stymied your career, for lack of a better term. You're someone who, funnily enough, actually played for Australia against the Barbarians before you made your Super Rugby debut, and then had a pretty meteoric rise and culminating in 5 tests in 2019. Obviously, that you haven't really been able to add to that because of the pandemic and injuries and so on. But in the back of your mind, you said you're feeling good. You've copped that head knock, but the body's doing well. I mean, outside of the Reds doing well this year, is a ticket to France in September that goal you're really chasing to get back into that Wallaby Gold?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like you said, bit of a tough run the last few years. Just last year was tough, just back to back, sort of bit of just a rogue run, like, doing an ankle in the warm-up before a game, coming down from a line-out, done that a million times and, never copped anything. And that's on the back of already missing the first 5 weeks with a shoulder, and then come back from that ankle and then last a good 30 minutes. And just before the end of full time, the shoulder goes again. And, that last quarterfinal against the Crusaders was pretty much playing on one arm, a lot of injections during the week, just trying to get it through. And but I think that was probably a blessing in disguise, to be honest, having to get that shoulder redone, knowing it was going to be a long sort of layoff and obviously miss, club rugby, any chance at sort of any Wallabies things at the end of the year. That Japan and the Challenger Series was frustrating, but it was the best way to build my body back into something that could do something this year. And that was, again, the whole reason why I re-signed. Obviously, I wanted to re-sign with the Reds, but the sort of flexi deal that they gave me was so that I had a chance to earn a ticket to France. The win-win is that, like, this year I just want to play footy. I'm sort of a player that thrives on putting consistent performances out there. I might not be the sort of huge game breaker that your Sully and your Nella and guys like that, but I think I put consistent performances in week to week, and for me that means I have to be on the field to do it, and I have to be playing footy. So I guess the positive is that, like, the last 2 years have really made me realize, I love this stuff, like, the grind of getting back out there, and I'm really excited to put some back-to-back games in. It's been a bit of a struggle, just sort of having the odd one here and there, and then injuries sort of separating it. So I'm looking forward to getting back into the grind of having to put 80 out every week and trying to stay consistent and play well, and for the team to do well. And my eyes are firmly set on trying to get a ticket to France at the end of the year. But the beauty of what happens is that's not really in my hands. Fresh coach, which is great for me and a lot of the Queenslanders. And, if not, then I've got that ability to chase a contract elsewhere for about 5 months at the end of the year, play some more footy, get some different experiences and different coaching under my belt, and come back to Queensland with that new stuff again next year, and keep pushing for that Wallaby Gold, because that's what I want. Yeah.
Hey, Rongers, mate, I want to go back a little bit. You talked about how difficult the last 2 years, particularly the last 12 months, as someone who went through a lot of injuries in my early part of my career as well. Was there anything you did differently this preseason, more mentally, to really strengthen your resolve when coming back? Because I know when my first few games coming back from back-to-back ACLs, all I was thinking about was not hurting myself when I was on the field, and it was hard to concentrate on the actual rugby, and it can be a real hindrance at times. You seem like you're in a really good space, but was there anything that you did differently leading up to this season, particularly on that mental side?
Oh, mate, I think just probably, like you say, Dos, it's thinking about the injuries is tough, and I think the timing probably worked out pretty well for me, because coming back from the shoulder, it sort of came back into being able to, like, I probably would have been fully fit to play early December, and for us that worked into the start of preseason. But Thorny and the coaches and Gina and the medical staff were great in that they didn't just try and rush me back for that. They sort of said, righto, we can have you pretty much ready to play at the start of December, and then and that gives us a whole preseason to work on it. So it was really cool, because I actually spoke to Gina after the Force trial, our first one, and I was like, it was really weird, because technically this is like my first game back, but I almost forgot that I was coming back from a shoulder injury. It was just like, because I'd had the whole preseason there, it worked really well into just being this is a pre-season for me. I got myself healthy. I had to work pretty hard in the off-season to get that ready.
Yeah.
And, obviously miss Challenger Series in Japan stuff and things like that. But it gave me the ability to strengthen the whole body. And obviously being a sort of an upper body injury as opposed to a lower body injury, which I've had plenty of the last few years, got to actually sort of strengthen my base a bit, work on the legs and the footwork with Marshy. I'm sure you did a bit of that too, Doss.
Yeah.
It all coincided really well. And I think mentally it just got me to the point where if something else happened, I guess the head knock was another good example, because I'd sort of said to myself, everyone has these runs at some point. I'm sure that's probably what you said, where you just say, if you're going to sit around and sulk about it, it's no real good.
Yeah.
So I just said, everyone goes through these runs. I'm just doing mine now. I genuinely felt like once I fixed myself up from that, I'd be good to go and I could show what I can do.
Yeah.
And so the head knock was probably a really rough week and a half. I haven't had one where symptoms have ever stuck around. You've had head knocks, but you sort of wake up the next day and they're gone. So this one was difficult, and it sort of had me probably questioning, especially because you don't really know as much about the head, what you can do to make it better. And again, I think that was really tough for about 2 weeks until I sort of had to say, hang on, don't be an idiot, treat this as an injury and just say, what will be, get through it. Once you come back from this, nothing can stop you. And then I think you just take that until the next one, and then you just try and say the same thing.